First, I'm going to take you through a basic sun salutation with your knees down and then your chest down and peeling back to cobra. So starting at the top of your mat, standing in your mountain pose, palms come together. Traditionally, you might have toes together, but I like to have the feet beneath, feeling like they're supported beneath the knees and the hips. Feel the shoulders loose away from the ears, lengthening through the top of your head. And then on your next inhale, bring the arms wide and high, reach up. Exhale, swan dive down, hinge your hips and soften your knees as you fold the body forward. Now, how much your knees will bend will depend how tight your hamstrings are. If they're super tight, then have quite a big bend in the knees. If you know that you're quite flexible, then you can keep the legs a little straighter. On your next inhale, halfway lift, either fingers to the ground or hands to shins. Just somewhere where you can feel length at the sides of the body and really straighten the spine back up. Exhale, step back, straight arm plank. Feeling the ribs and the belly drawing in, spreading out the fingers and pushing the ground away so the shoulders are nice and strong. And then we'll lower your knees down with your elbows tucked in, lower the chest down, and inhale, peel back cobra as you release the toes, top of the feet to the ground. Feel the shoulders rolling back. Feel the front of the body still strong, so you're still drawing the ribs and the belly in, keeping a little bend in the elbow, and then release down. Toes tuck under, come to downward facing dog. Hips up and back to the sky. And then holding there for a few breaths. In your down dog, you might again have quite a deep bend in the knees if you're tight in the hamstrings. What you want to avoid is this rounding of the lower back. You want to keep the lower back nice and, the whole back nice and long. So all the way from the hands to the shoulders and the hips, a nice long straight line, even if that means bending a little into the knees. And then step the foot back forward, step forward, forward fold. On your next inhale, bring the arms wide and high, come up to stand. Exhale, hands come together, heart center. So that's a basic sun salutation. You might start even with baby cobra or just with a back bend. So I'll just show that now. You might start with just baby cobra, shoulders lifting, or a back bend. And I always really like to start with those variations because it's really strengthening the muscles in the back and switching those on before you progress to your cobra, or what we'll go for now, your upward facing dog. Good, so the next variation of sun salutation I'm going to talk you through is your Chaturanga to up dog variation. So again, starting in your mountain pose, feet comfortable distance apart, palms come together, push down through the ground and draw up through the inner arches of the feet and all the way up the inner legs. On your next inhale, bring the arms wide and high, reach up. Exhale, swan dive down, hinge your hips, soften your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, either fingers to the ground or hands to shins, lengthening the sides of the body again. Exhale, step back, straight arm plank. Good, again, ribs and belly in, tailbone long, pushing the ground away. This time we're going forward on the toes, lower halfway down Chaturanga, and then pushing forward to up dog. Now in your up dog, you want the top of the feet pressing down and the hands pressing the ground away. Your knees and your hips are lifted. If it doesn't work for you to go to your up dog, if you feel like it's too much for your back, then you can lower the hips and come a bit lower to your cobra. And your cobra, you're only ever going as far as feels comfortable for your body. Even if you're down here, this is still your cobra position. Good, so from your cobra or your up dog, you then go back over your toes, downward facing dog. Holding for a few breaths. Again, feel that upper body nice and long. And then step forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, bring your arms wide and high as you push the ground away. Exhale, hands come together, heart center. Good, and then the third variation I'm going to show you is floating back to Chaturanga. So this is a more dynamic style, and you really want to do a warm-up maybe with a baby cobra, maybe with the arms and the legs lifting off the ground, then progress to cobra, then maybe progress to up dog, and then you might do more dynamic things like floating back to your Chaturanga. So for this position, again, you start standing, Tadasana, top of your mat, mountain pose. Inhale, arms wide and high, reach up. Exhale, swan dive down, hinge your hips, soften your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the sides of the body. And then you bring the hands down. Think about the hips staying high. Think about ending in your Chaturanga position. So as you float back, you end with elbows bent. From there, you can push forward, upward facing dog, and then back over the toes, downward facing dog. So it's just a much more dynamic way of moving back to your Chaturanga. Again, step forward. Inhale, arms wide and high. Exhale, hands come together, heart center. Now, there are quite a lot of different variations that you can take. So one that I would suggest if you've got more restricted mobility or you find you want to work a bit slower is you can, from your halfway lift, then come back to all fours and then inhale to your cow position before then going to downward facing dog. So in this case, your back bend, it's not cobra or up dog. You're barely dropping, shoulders back, cow position, and you're still moving through that flow with the rest of the class. So that's particularly good if you've got an injury or maybe your wrists feel restricted, or if you just struggle to keep up with classes, sometimes that can be a really great option. Another really good option is to bring your fists down, and you can do any of the variations with your fists down. Now, if you're struggling with your wrists, then this can be a really nice way to take a little break. And you don't have to do all the sequence with fists, but maybe once in a while you change it up and you have a go making fists. Now, when you do make fists, you really want the back of the wrist to be nice and long. So there's lots of different variations. As I was saying before, I always like to work up from your baby cobra, maybe arms and legs lifting, really work the back muscles before progressing to your cobra or even your up dog. So it's a really nice way to warm up the spine and get those muscles switching on. And you'll find different teachers will teach things quite differently. I often go from the back of the mat and add in lots of different variations. So it's not as simple as just those different variations that you can try, but it's just something to give you an idea of the types of movements and sun salutations that we do in classes. Good. Have a go at home and enjoy.